Hey ho everyone, and welcome to this in-depth review of the SwSh Ubers tier of Ubers Premier League XII. This is the recap of week 7, and today I'm glad to be joined by so many great hosts: Eledyr,
Hello, everyone.
FF2,
What's up?
and finally Louis.
Hello everyone.
Yeah. So we won't be going into the tier specification this time around, since we've already done that for the last Sword and Shield video. You can watch that if you're interested to learn what makes this tier special. But with that, I believe we can just jump right into the first game. Crying versus the Strap. So I believe this is one of the games which didn't really do anything because both teams were already out at that time.
Yeah,
You can see that Crying is bringing a meme team because they have Ditto, no Yveltal. Their team is pretty much 6-0'd by a LouieIX with Side Shock. So they're definitely more memeing this week.
And fairly standard team from the Strap.
Well, the Strap brought a pretty standard team. I think it's pretty standard with the big three. In the Kyogre, Calyrex, and Zygarde, which are all very good Pokemon in the tier. So yeah, it's. But I don't think there's a lot to tell about the team. Maybe that there is a bit of customization in the team. You can do a lot of different things with your mons. So in a standard game against this team, you really want to scout because Necrozma can be rocks, but it can do funny things with knockoff or Thunder Wave, etc. Kyogre can be Calm Mind, but it can be offensive or defensive Calm Mind, etc.
Strap's team, I'd expect either one of Kyogre or Zygarde to be defensive and the other one to be some offensive set. Just because it doesn't really make sense to have two defensive Pokemon there, because your team would be way too passive. Zygarde hasn't been very popular recently, to be honest, because it's a little bit passive. Its defensive sets and its offensive sets are a little bit fishy because it's like you're just hoping you don't run into certain Pokemon that really like give trouble. Like for example, most DD sets struggle into defensive Kyogre, but it can be good in very certain matchups, and it can just like win the game.
Yeah, especially the Dragon Dance Dragon Tail set that usually 6-0.
That one's the scariest.
That set usually 6-0 those team that relies on a physical defensive perform.
Yeah.
And from my point of view, I think the Strap just bought something similar to a Paraspam, because like it doesn't have a secondary workers in his team, so this NDM is almost certainly a Thunderwave rock set. So it looks to me it's really like Paraspam from the Strap.
Yeah, I think this is. Yeah, it's pretty standard team with a status spam and with a probably Dragon Dance Zygarde or either Dragon Dance Zygarde or Glare, and
the Dragon Dance with Glare is pretty disgusting set. Like with Substitute, they just parafish you.
So we've said that Crying's team probably isn't too serious, but Ditto in combination with Blissey, is that the thing in general, or is it just
both of those are pretty bad, to be honest.
Yeah, Dicto and
I've seen
Blissey
Blissey maybe on like Blissey especially has fallen off really hard. I've seen Blissey maybe on like on really fat teams, some stalls. That's pretty much it. And Ditto I haven't seen this on a serious team, to be honest, just because hyper offense isn't that good, or at least isn't that popular in that size.
Yeah, I mean, if you just want a normal type for those mono ghost Clarex, then most likely Aldino is doing better than Blissey in this kind of team.
Yeah. So, what exactly makes Blissey so bad?
Too passive, I would say.
Yeah, too passive. It's not really bad. Like, I still think with how many Calmon Kyogres there are now, like those fat Calmon Kyogres, it actually is like better than people give it credit for. And especially since a lot of Calyrex shadows are like some cheesy mono ghost set, but it's just passive. So many Ferroforms, like it's spiked all over. It's tough for the Blissey users.
Yeah, like using Blissey, you have to run a lot of support around Blissey, so you don't instantly lose to those like double switching like Kyogre and then physical attacker, Kyogre and then physical attacker. They just can't win that.
Alright.
So like running Blissey usually means that you have to give a lot in your team builder, and which will lead to a team tends to be a store team. And if you don't do that, your team usually get exploited. So
Yeah. Okay, then let's get into the game.
the lead is Eternatus and Kyogre and Draco Meteor. Okay.
What was the Kyogre lead supposed to do here? Just catch Olandros trying to set up rocks?
Probably, yes.
Probably, and
yeah.
also, I mean, Kyogre literally don't afraid Kyogre from through. I think that's one of the reasons why he lead Kyogre.
Yeah. But I think that or Yveltal lead is probably most common.
Yeah, usually the SS lead is around Kyogre. The SS lead is also usually around Kyrex, Yveltal, and Eternatus.
Yeah.
Yeah, because these three just catch each other. Do you understand that? Yeah.
Waruchuu Meteor
It's
also...
a jetpack, just
This is a pretty standard set on Eternatus. Draco Meteor jetpack, just to keep the momentum. It's just weird in this team because, well, you don't exploit the momentum you gain from Draco Meteor. Like, if you had something like, I don't know, a big breaker like Z-Chrome or Groudon, it would make sense. But yeah, it's a good set in a bad team.
Yeah, I think it's mainly used on like either Specs Kyogre, which really wants to keep its health healthy for Specs Water Spout, or like foil breakers like Urshifu, like Dracovish. I really want to like get a free switch in. Otherwise, I think like Fruits Lodge is better.
Yeah, also something like Draco Meteor and Magnexum. That's also very common. So you just click Draco Meteor on Necrozma and immediately Magnexum comes in and your NDM is just gone. If you don't bring a Chesdale.
Which Pokemon comes in? I couldn't understand that.
Magnezone.
Magnexum, the Magnet Poo, the trapping one.
Oh yeah.
Draco Meteor plus a tracking, eject pack plus a trapping one. Just trap the NDM and then the Cernius at the back just win, something like that.
Is that like a just a team structure which is sometimes used, or is it Magnezone not really used outside of that? Because I have never seen Magnezone in SS before, I believe.
Magnezone has kind of fallen off, but it's actually, I think, still a sleeper pick against those like fat balances. You pretty much run like Yveltal, NDM, Eternatus, and then you run like Geozern, like Scarf Darm Galar, and like Magnezone. Once you trap the NDM, your Geozern and your Darm go crazy, basically.
Yeah, Dom go crazy, Xerneas go crazy if you catch NDM. And yeah, it's basically good in every team that doesn't feature uh-oh and not hyper offense teams, because those teams tend to have several big breakers that you don't have time to set up Magnezone and then to set up Xerneas.
IFC. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, FC.
Hello.
For the viewers, this is the cheerleader, and he is very experimented in SwSh Ubers.
Yeah, and with that experience, I can say, what was Crying doing?
Yeah, this is exactly what we said. This is the team doesn't look good.
It might be the worst one brought this UPL in SS.
Yeah,
This game didn't. Yeah, this game didn't matter for either of them, so it is fair. But it might be the worst SS team that has been used.
yeah,
I feel like what they might have been doing, right? So Crime's team, they must have taken a random Pokemon generator, randomly generated 6 Ubers Pokemon, put them on a team, and randomly generated 6 sets for them.
This was a Battle Factory team.
Yeah, literally Battle Factory team.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've played Crying in AG where she's looked up Smogon anything those teams and loaded them versus me. And it had like 2 Cinderace. So I'm surprised by nothing anymore.
Oh, did you win?
I think that's one of the few sets I've taken off her. Anyway. Eject. Who eject packed?
Eternatus. With a Draco Meteor.
Why?
The worst eject pack team ever.
Why is it eject pack on this build? I hate when people put eject pack on random teams. You need something that beats NDM.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you need like a offensive Kyogre or like a.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
Urshifu could use it pretty well.
Okay, fair.
And Draco-ish. That's it.
I think it's important
those
to
sort right
notice there that Kyogre is actually a defensive combine set. So it basically do nothing against this team with Eternatus plus Blissey.
Yeah. It's.
So a lot of burn off.
I don't think any set was actually beating this Blissey because of what it reveals later. But
Yeah, Eternatus plus Blissey is just impossible to break for Kyogre in most scenario.
Well, maybe some hazards plus
T-Wave Calm Mind
out, but like
yeah, T-Wave.
that one too maybe.
T-Wave substitutes Ogre is nasty and can cheese so many games.
Yeah,
it's pretty surprising that Ryan goes NDM to try to take a Scald because if that burned,
that was a very risky knockoff.
Yeah, I mean the NDM was kind of useless here, but this Kyogre can be annoying.
Yeah,
I mean,
it might. She surely has a cleric, so because there are 2 of them, so it's possible to get rid of the burn, but still.
It's still a little bit odd how Crying's not going Blissey. It might tell you that Crying's Blissey might, I don't know, lose to Kyogre or something like that. But then it's really like these sets might be really bad then. If your Blissey can beat a Kyogre.
And then you reveal
Ditto is also
not
sad,
Scar.
I think.
not choice Ditto.
I'm very surprised by how Crying is facing Kyogre because maybe it's because Blissey doesn't have Confined, which is weird. But well, given the team, it wouldn't be so surprising.
Yeah, she could also just be wasting time, like just burn a couple Scalds here and there, and then get it in.
Wow, that could did so much.
Finally, she goes.
There it is. Yeah, and it's leftovers. So yeah, this team did lose to Specs Ogre, and then it picked Calm Mind.
Calm Mind is a little bit odd because, well, getting Calm Mind Wars, you might lose.
Because we're not playing ADV here.
Calm Mind is almost never used because if you get crits, you lose instantly. So most of the time you prefer Confined on Blissey.
Yeah, I would just
for anyone that doesn't know. For anyone that doesn't know, Confide reduces the special attack of the opposing Pokemon by 1. And it also
Yeah.
has just as much PP as Calm Mind. So that's why it's used. You can PP stall out
Yeah.
Calm Mind.
Ring
Ring
Oh,
target.
and-
Ring target.
Crane just revealed it was a ring target LouieIX, so now Yveltal is not resisting psychic type attacks anymore.
Normally,
Probably.
you use ring target with like voice spin Groudon, because then Yveltal doesn't resist ground anymore.
Yeah. Once
But
again, the Blissey
there's-
plus Dido is weird. The team would make so much sense with a breaker like Zekrom or Groudon, like I said before. Like, if you had Groudon, you could click freely Crispy's Blade now. Literally, because Yveltal has the ring target now.
Yeah, the
If you
flamethrower
put
damage is
Groudon-
also suspicious. Like, it is a full attack flamethrower, from what I know. Like 41% to a specific, SP def and DM. Should be a full SPA Eternatus.
On crying
Yeah.
side?
Yeah,
Oh.
it does 40. It does
Can
41
you
to
pause for a
ND.
second?
I guess that makes sense with Blissey if it's special attacking Ether then, but
Yeah,
I
but
mean-
maybe the physical.
it's not
Yeah.
medium. It's a jetpack.
Yeah.
So I don't know why you'd run max special attack at jetpack with no way to beat anything.
Well, that's a big Dynamax cannon. It was very ballsy once again.
Yeah.
You know,
I
does
think it
not
is
knock in
also
again? 'Cause
I guess,
over.
It could live a Psyshock because it's not specs. Like that is a possibility.
Is ring target a common strategy? Because that's, I think, the first
No.
time I've seen it.
No,
No,
it's
it's
it's a gimmick. I've seen
Yeah.
Crying in particular use it before, but it's a gimmick.
Yeah, I think the
this
game
is,
is
this,
over.
this is an offensive side got like full attack probably. And then
Yeah, Barrage
honestly,
does.
just-
nothing.
Yeah, but now
Raj,
you lose 4 barrage PP. So
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Psyshock kills here. Probably no Psyshock.
it doesn't.
It would have to be like no bulk of Veltal, but yeah. Like at this point, see, the main issue with this is you're relying on Blissey for opposing Cali. I
Yeah,
think
but
it's
Psyshock does
just-
like 95.
yeah, this is what happens with LouieIX now. It just clicks Psyshock and it wins the game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He can go for the speed tie there because
Yeah.
next turn of Veltal comes in and gets the kill on him.
yeah, Yveltal can never lose to this LouieIX, so it can just
Well,
click Psyshock and win
Strap
automatically.
does
It
try
can.
to lose here. If you, I don't know what he was doing. He tried to lose for a little bit because right here, if you don't have the ring target, just like, I don't know. I don't think Barrage kills.
I don't
I-
understand the plays now.
And
Why-
then
why-
I thought Craig could win here probably.
Maybe it's that because it's a fast Yveltal and there's a chance to be when it KO'd, but no.
maybe I don't like fast on this build. I mean, if it is, then it might be like a roll. But you
Yeah.
should when you don't have the ring target. I feel like you just always knock off this game.
Yeah, true.
I guess
Yeah.
there's no
I agree.
fun in suckering, but like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think
It was awkward.
without the ring target, you should always just click knockoff.
Yeah, unless it's like max speed. But max speed, I think now it's bad, but it's especially bad on non-Ferrothorn teams because you're not
Yeah.
taunting anything.
In
Yeah.
the Straps team, it would be bad. Yeah, definitely. You want slower,
Let's move on
bulkier
to a better
version.
game, please.
Yeah,
Let's move
this
on
was
to a
a
better game, please.
Yeah.
Not a real game. Like,
Well,
hey,
this
this
is a
is
fake
a better
Ubers
game.
game.
This game is funny because you see two very rare Pokemon in the metagame, which are Obstagoon and
One
I-
of them
I
is better than
actually-
the other one.
I actually tried a lot with this kind of team architecture. Like, I experimented a lot when SS was the current gen, but my team featured, if I remember correctly, something like Zekrom over Xerneas. But yeah, this is something that I brought on the ladder, and it's a dangerous team. honestly, it's
I will say here, Galvantula is actually pretty good. I think it's the best web setter in Ubers, to be honest. But it's definitely better than the other Pokemon right next to it.
Galvantula is mostly slept on in Ubers, I think, in the SS Ubers. It has a lot of good features.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
I
like
also
the
think
stat
it's the
funder is
best.
really nice.
The only issue it has is that it can't prevent rocks like Slowpuff can, but that doesn't really matter because it has better boots.
Yeah.
And you can just counter these
Also,
with something
Slurpuff-
else.
Slurpuff is so unreliable sometimes. Like versus Yveltal, like if you lead Slurpuff into Yveltal, you have to choose either Magic Coat, a possible taunt, or just web up on the U-turn. Because if you Magic Coat on the U-turn and they go something faster, then you don't get webs up. So it's really it's kind of unreliable sometimes.
Yeah, I think Slurpuff had the 4 move slot syndrome in the sense that it wants Sticker Web, then Magic Coat, Endeavor, Misty Explosion, and Yawn. So it has to choose 4 moves among 5. And basically only one is very locked, which is, Sticky Web.
Yeah, I think Galvantula has that just to a lesser extent.
Yeah.
Because obviously you want Thunder, Sticky Web, Toxic, but then you also want both Thunder Wave and String Shot. But they're not.
I've also tried out Disable before, on the 4th move, running Disable. It has some utility.
For who?
Just random stuff, you disable with defog or something like that.
What is defogging on Galvantula?
Landorus T.
That does actually happen.
Yeah.
So,
but anyways, it has 4 moves too, but it's not as bad as Slurpuff.
What does it would it like to have String Shot for?
Random Dragon Dance ones like Zekrom and Zygarde and stuff.
Yeah,
because Zygarde, even when toxic, can get +3 on Galvantula. Just because it gets all its health back when it hits 50.
You can disable the Dragon Dance or 1,000 Arrows with Galvantula. Just saying, disable.
Yeah, disable it as it gets to +2, and then spams 1,000 Arrows on your Hyper Offense team.
Also, how good is Sticky Webs in general with so many heavy duty boots running?
I think it's a very high skill selling kind of team in SS Ubers because Yveltal is everywhere and defoggers are very viable in general. So it's a very difficult task to actually keep the Sticky Web up in most matchup. So it's good, but you have to be very cautious in your play to actually make it work.
I think it's just kind of mediocre.
Mediocre. It's kind of fishy, to be honest.
Yeah. Not a lot of fast mons actually run boots. The fastest is E-turn. So that's not super prevalent, but just sometimes you just trade down mons and you don't have enough because you have to lead with a Galvantula.
Yeah.
I will say I think it's a lot better than Arrowhole, which is I think pretty terrible nowadays.
Arrow is terrible.
I think Spikes or Webs are the best hyper offenses right now. But Webs is definitely fine. It actually is somewhat more skilled than a lot of other holes though, because you actually need to know what you're doing, trading down mons and keeping the webs up. So yeah.
And what does Obstagoon do?
Obstagoon is
I'm qualified.
Yeah. Go ahead.
One subject.
You're the Obstagoon player. Yeah.
Yes. All right. So first of all, it's actually not a very good trick Calyrex switching because you want to keep your Flame Orb. But what's great at doing is that it's on webs, once you get a bulk up off, you kind of kill everything, which is kind of nice. +1 Facade destroys Eternatus, it destroys Yveltal, and not much can switch in. And then for the 4th move, you run either Obstruct to get off your Flame Orb, or Fire Punch for Ferrothorn. It's pretty threatening at times, but it's kind of fishy because it really just doesn't want Boots Eternatus is pretty annoying for it. Marshadow is pretty annoying for it. Landorus is also pretty annoying for it. FC's team is actually very good against Obstagoon, to be honest, if you have Boots Eternatus.
It's not.
Yeah, it's... Oh, okay. Then it's not so bad. But, like, even then, Groudon Landorus is a little bit difficult for it. It's kind of fishy, but I think it's only good on Sticky Web's offense, I think, to be honest. I think it's kind of bad now in everything else.
So what is Obstruct?
It's just to protect that, like, when you make contact with it, you get -2 defense. It's situationally more useful, like if you're unboosted versus Marshadow, or unboosted versus Necrozma Dustmane.
Okay.
It's just a better protect, basically.
Yeah, it's fishy, but it lets you get your Flame Orb no matter what, and it just helps you outcoach stuff if you need it. But because it doesn't really need the fourth move, like sure you can put like Ice Punch or whatever, but you know, I think Lando probably does the spot after like minimal chip.
Probably the best aspect of Obstagoon on webs is that like you can play aggressively with Yveltal, and even if webs go off, you don't just instantly lose to Calyrex. Because otherwise, once webs go off, Calyrex kind of like smokes a lot of webs teams just on its own, because it's so strong and your Yveltal isn't very bulky. So yeah, that's probably the best part about it.
And the Xerneas, is Geomancy good in SS, or is it like Scarf variant?
It's Geo. It's just
sleeper good.
Yeah, it's just Geo.
It's sleeper good though. Like a lot of NDMs are running like 220 speed and like being lax on the split F side, but like Focus Blast 2-hit KOs. If you hit both.
But Focus Blast 2-hit KO those 198 variant anyway. So 220, the 220 meta is the Thunder instead of Focus Blast, because Thunder is more.
Yeah, but that's
often
only if you rain up.
Yeah, because Thunder is more run often than Focus Blast. So the change to 220 really matter is the Thunder Xerneas.
Yeah, I think the best set is still 3 attacks with Focus Blast, but Sub also exists, and I guess there's also other sets like Ingrain or something like that. I don't know. It's mostly going to be 3 attacks.
Yeah.
And looking at FC's team here, what kind of preparation did you go into for this match?
This is just my week 1 team.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think there's much preparation. It's a very normal looking team.
Yeah. It's offense. It's like Boom Lead Lando and stuff. But yeah, it's the same team. I just made the Groudon have more attack because I messed up that week 1, so I changed it.
Oh yeah, I remember that game versus Ivor. Alright.
Wait, did you win or no?
I did, but still.
Like week 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, so Landorus gets a free rocks up on Galvantula. At least it gets toxic.
Yeah. I didn't want to rocks because if I take 1 extra tick of poison, I'm in range of like everything. But I live Dark Pulse here and defog.
I think this is an important thing because Landorus is never actually run with special defense usually, and
it's not to death.
It's not to death. Well, this Yveltal is so weird. Maybe it's no special attack Yveltal with Dark Pulse, but it sounds so weird.
It should be a roll. It's just like really in Landorus' favor there if it's max special attack. It could have some physical attack like Sucker Punch calcs, but
actually I ran the calc and specially offensive Yveltal should have KO.
I have health. It's not like max attack. I have health. It's just not like full defensive. But yeah, the roll was in my favor, I'm pretty sure, when I calced it, so I was just like, okay, I'll just go for defog and see what happens. And that pretty much wins the game.
Yeah, regardless, Taunt should have came out no matter what, to be honest. I'm not sure why he Dark Pulse, because like if rocks go up, that's kind of bad too. And I guess you're hitting Eternatus, but like hunting Eternatus is also good too. So it just kind of risking your webs for no reason.
I think it was safer to click Taunt if I was Beraldo. I think Taunt was a better play because you really want to keep your webs up, and nothing can switch in the Taunt and be happy. If it's Yveltal, if Yveltal has the fog, well, it counts the fog. If Landorus was the fog, and it was the fog, it was ruined, etc. So I think Taunt was a better play for Beraldino.
In fairness,
Also-
most Landorus are defog, so like, you might not have expected defog Landorus.
Yeah.
So does
Yeah, 'cause just looking at the build, you could assume it's defog Yveltal. Like, if you didn't know I already used this, you could just assume, like, oh, this is just a standard balance team.
Yeah.
hello.
Hello, Aberforth. So the second cheerleader just joined the chat, and well, Aberforth is also very good at Ubers. In SS Ubers, I mean.
I try.
I think we have representation from every continent, or
Yeah.
every major time zone, right? Eledyr and me are from Europe. I'm not sure where FF2 is from. Louis from the Asia, Aber from Australia, and FC from North America. That's pretty cool.
We don't have South America, but that's the only one.
Yeah.
No Africa representation.
Sorry for being. Oh yeah, and no Africa too. But I don't know anyone in
Also-
Ubers who live in Africa. So.
Also no Antarctica. That's also important.
There's
Unfortunately.
Team Africa on World Cup.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So like we were saying, yeah, the defog basically is a big hit for Beraldino's chances at winning. It's not
In
over.
fairness,
It's not over, but the game becomes really hard without the sticky web up.
in fairness, because there's Obstagoon, LouieIX isn't so bad.
Yeah.
Now I understand why FF2 joined. I do not think that Beraldo is likely to have a winning path in this position.
Well, he did lose the game, so you're right.
No, there's not much you can do when you're down a Mon and you've decided to also bring up as well.
Well, Geozark
Like,
can still win. FC is.
Through a full NDM, it's unlikely. Not impossible,
Yeah.
but unlikely at least.
yeah, no.
But that means that all FC needs to
probably his
do
best
is
chance.
try and prevent the Geozone from setting up and becoming a problem, really.
Yeah, to be honest, everything else kind of doesn't win here. Against two grounds. Well, not two grounds, one ground now. Obstagoon could do a lot of damage, but there's Eternatus, and you have to keep it super healthy. So probably not.
And yeah, without webs, it struggles with
Meteor
its
beam.
advantage. Yeah.
Was it offensive?
So
Yeah.
Yes.
Both of them are offensive.
It do the standard meteor beam set, like full SPA, full speed.
yeah.
I had a little bit of bulk, but not much. It was max out at high. It was just not max speed, but pretty much the same.
I would have.
yeah, now it's pretty tough. I don't think there's I don't know what switching you have to this Eternatus right now.
No, you just have to sack Mons because you don't have a Kali on this offense. Yeah, because like he can go his turn, but
He died. Yeah.
because I have bulk, it doesn't kill. So I just get way more damage off that.
Well, he correctly predicts that you had a non-attacking move. Otherwise, he could have sucker punch, unless he doesn't have sucker punch.
Yeah, I mean he probably does, but there's just like minimal upside because at this point you have to kill his turn. Like if it recovers, you lose the game pretty much. So
like now, there's no way for him to win except for Xerneas. To be honest, I would have gone Xerneas right now. To be honest,
Yeah, because that's the only
This is
winning
the best chance he get.
yeah, I forgot this thing got bulk up, so I just spent a turn sucker punching it and knocking off the obstruct. But at this point, it does not matter.
I mean, it could
because
win.
It can't because if he
Does
lost,
Rana not try to?
I'm SwSh Encore.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Never mind. I forgot about that. Yeah.
I shouldn't have actually encored here in case he went like hard. I should have just plotted up because I'm SwSh. But it didn't matter. Because I should still
now
beat
it's
Zern
over.
regardless because it's SwSh. And he was just praying I was last move Psyshock or like substitute or something.
Yeah, this is
Maybe the only way to win was just going Xerneas earlier and trying to see if you could Geo Zern up and maybe win somehow.
Yeah, it would have to either crit Duskmane or like para full para.
So, do you think
Yeah.
this game would have done differently if FC wasn't able to get the webs away?
I probably lost if I didn't get the webs off.
Yeah, if you doesn't
Yeah.
get the waves out, then probably just lost
yeah,
because like I mean even Eternatus can kill half of your team.
Yeah, my win con at that point was set up Groudon on Duskmane and then just kill stuff. Because I can live any one hit from anything, and if I get +1 speed, I'll win. But that was pretty much the out. It was that, and then like trade smartly with my Kali.
I assume your NDM was very offensive, right? Like not much bulk.
It had a lot of HP, but it was like adamant.
Okay, yeah. So probably if webs were still up, that Eternatus plus Xerneas probably could have won.
Yeah.
Although I'm just saying that Eternatus definitely won if he had used Solar Beam Eternatus.
Solar beam is
it's
like
underrated stuff.
SV tactics.
Right. Then we have Icemaster versus. Is the name of this player Gostop?
this is a
This
player
game
from
actually mattered,
my
right?
team.
Alright.
Oh, this game mattered, right? For Gostop's team.
Yes.
Icemaster has already made it in to playoffs at this point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
But-
but the Dialga is to tie, so this game matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Dialgas really needed the win. The Vicious didn't. But Icemaster was like 1-5 or something, so he probably wanted to beef up his record a little bit.
Wait, he was?
No, he was like 3-3. Same thing though.
Well, it's still kind of
Same
bad
thing.
for it. It's still kind of bad for his standards.
Yeah, like you'd expect.
He
He did best of 3 1 week, and he lost, but still.
Might be washed.
Yeah, he has to beat the allegations in playoffs. Anyway, we see another webs. I don't know if this one's better. Probably because there's no obstacle.
See, I just remembered. Like the main reason why I used disable Avantula was because I didn't want to have Aberforth spike up 3 times versus me.
Use
That was the main reason why. I just
spike up
remembered
versus them.
Yeah, that's
maybe I
how
should have.
I remember that's how I win against FF2 in UWC 1 or something. Like I
Really?
just
I can't remember.
I
But
just did Fairphone and then pick spike 3 times
Yeah.
and then
So, is Smirgle a thing in SS?
No, it's not in the game.
Okay.
Right.
was-
I was
it
like,
was
I
cut from SS.
remember ever seeing Miracle.
Yeah, no, it was cut from SS. It's only back in SV,
Yeah.
so you don't have to worry about it.
I assume Ribombi isn't either.
No, it's just bad.
Oh.
It's in the game. It's
Yeah,
not as good.
it's just that.
Because
Hey,
Or Scott Angela.
yeah, because it can't do any damage. So like, it can actually get PP stalled by Ho-Oh. Like, and just like parafished by T-Wave and stuff. So
you have
it's
three
a-
options for sticky web setters in SS in general. All of them are not great, just because like sticky webs as a play style means you're playing 5v6 if they can get a defog off ever, and it's just quite fishy. In SS in particular, HO is just quite a fish. It can work, but it's not reliable. So you've got Shuckle, you've got Slurpuff, and you've got Galvantula. I'd say Galvantula is probably the least common of the three.
It's the best one.
Yeah.
We had this discussion a bit before you joined in because there was
Ah,
a
my
web
bad.
preview.
I'll stop it. I
Yeah.
actually do agree. I think Galvantula is probably the best.
Yeah, we were talking about Galvantula versus Slurpuff for a little bit, just which one's better.
Yeah,
Shock
no,
was interesting.
I agree that Galvantula is better. Slurpuff is extremely exploitable.
Yeah,
Oh, Shock
and
anyway.
Shuckle gets rocks.
Oh, Icemaster. Yeah.
Shuckle
If I'm
Shuckle gets
Icemaster, no,
rocks,
just-
but there's no way you're ever getting both rocks and webs up with it. Like, it's
Yeah.
just a paper mod.
I mean, low key in this matchup, do you even want to get webs up? This team is so slow.
I don't think you do, yeah. To be honest, if I'm
Yeah.
Icemaster, I'm leading Aberforth and spiking 3 times.
Yeah, probably.
The only Pokemon that
Yeah,
really
like-
cares about the webs is Groudon, depending on the set also, right?
No,
It's
Probably just
Eternatus.
Eternatus.
Yeah.
It's just
Maybe,
Eternatus. Because
but
Groundon is
Eternatus also
really
beats.
slow.
Everything is faster than Groudon. Unless you're
Yeah.
like timid.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. You could get either hazard in this, but the default is just set webs and see what happens.
I think you just lead like Yveltal here, to be honest. Like webs aren't even useful here. This team. At the very
I
least,
may
yeah.
I'd rather
probably
have
I may probably just lead Eternatus because like in this kind of team, like with Ho-Oh and NDM appears together, that usually means that NDM doesn't beat Eternatus. Because you don't really run because
True.
you run special defensive NDM with Ho-Oh, it's like too much. Like why do you run too much SP depth in one team? Like are you specifically for Xerneas plus Eternatus, this type of combo like this? So in common sense, it just doesn't make sense that NDM with Ho-Oh. I mean, it doesn't really make sense that a standard SP depth NDM with Ho-Oh. So
Yeah.
to me, it's like really like this NDM doesn't beat Eternatus, and that's why I probably just lead Eternatus because it doesn't seem Icemaster will have a proper measure against that.
Yeah.
probably DD knock NDM.
Yeah, that's
which
the
case,
most
that's the-
possible. Yeah, that's the most possible case.
To be honest, in that case, sticky webs also has another use in that it slows down NDM for like, otherwise 2DDs and NDM kills everything, to be honest. So that can also be one thing.
before your NDM can set up, I think you just run out of Morning Sun. Because usually this type of Eternatus they usually run Modus. And if you have Modus Flamethrower on a standard DD NDM like 220 speed, they just outrun you with Flamethrower, like doing more than 50 every time.
Yeah.
So yeah,
We start the
probably
game.
I just lead Eternatus probably, but let's see. Okay, Daily Shackle versus Groundon.
Groudon.
Rock Stop,
Yeah,
which is fine.
yeah, Icemaster just goes for the rocks. Spikes.
Yeah. Yeah, it lets both.
I'm
hazards
Icemaster.
up, but
I'm
that's
going
about it.
Airborne right now. Yeah, okay, yeah, he goes Airborne right now. Now he's getting a spike up, and now he's probably already win, just saying.
Yeah,
and rock,
like,
I think he wins.
you do the chip. The only thing that can like actually NDM can't even. NDM can win if it dodges press plays.
Yeah, like this
Yeah,
turn, I will
I-
probably go Eternatus, not Kairos,
Yes,
because
this was a very bad play. I don't know what he was expecting there. But the
Yeah.
Pharaoh didn't reveal its set. You can never go Kali on that because it doesn't open.
Wouldn't it
Yeah,
Shadow
and-
also killed and Power Whip?
It doesn't run either of those. It's normally knockoff or body press.
You press.
It can run
Yeah.
Power Whip. I think Bullet Seed is a bit more common of the grass moves, but it's usually just knockoff or body press.
yeah, I think the thing is that Gostop just misjudged the Fairphone set here, because although the set doesn't reveal, this Fairphone is actually very leaning to SP depth, because you don't want a double Jackium track in one team. Like if you have ground down already, you most likely you don't want a physical depth Fairphone.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like even
because
Fizz
you
Death
have-
Ferrothorn, it
It's-
doesn't
it's-
die to Astro Mirage most of the time then. If it's like
Yeah.
no death. So it's not really scared to switch out. That's the
Yeah,
main issue.
so yeah, that's
you
that's
can beat
also
up
that's
and then
also
you go
the
Evaldo too.
Yeah, so the set is quite questionable anyway. And
Let me see
then
Tornadoes
go
could be sub
Eternatus.
or
Yeah,
recover maybe. I'm not sure what it is right now.
yeah, and
Icemaster just stacks his hole, which depending on the set, maybe the hole wasn't useful. Like maybe it's offensive,
Yeah.
just died to like hunger.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
That was
and
a good
then-
meteor
This is where
beam, though,
Solar Beam
because-
would have helped here.
Eternal
probably-
Beam.
And Eternal Beam, yes.
Eternal Beam, which to be honest, it just sounds like a worse Solar Beam to me. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think even Draco Media is a bit better, but I think because Eternal
Yeah.
Beam has a kill on the full HP hole, probably. So
I mean, I'd rather just, I don't know, I guess.
Yeah.
But you're
And
creating
then-
mons of web, which isn't a good idea usually.
Yeah, at this point he just has to hope for luck. But he's not Thunder, so that's dead.
I
don't
mean,
think
even
that
if
matters.
Thunder is under Sun, so
Yeah, he needed a lot of luck. I assume that's offensive because Focus did 71, so I don't think the crit mattered.
Yeah, that's where the hazards mattered. Like, that's why you shouldn't lead Chuckle. Just lead like Eternatus or like Evaldo or something like that. That way you can stop the hazards.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then
At this point, you need some Heatwave NDM plus crazy. You need like Colbur Heatwave NDM to win this.
Yeah.
Alba was Woodbury again?
Dark.
Okay.
Yeah.
To be honest,
So-
Roost Evaldo could have won there. But
actually, yeah, Evaldo could have won, like could have if it's
Yeah.
like on counts and Roost, and he take Dynamics Cannon and to set up once and then kill Eternatus, and then
Yeah.
Roost against Evaldo and try to win with acrobatics. But I mean, it doesn't really reasonable that acrobatics knock off on clouds, but no sucker punch.
Yeah.
So,
That was a good play. Just get the one extra tick of
yeah,
reach.
just to make sure the
Just to make
punch
sure
fail.
Sucker Punch failed. So yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, like that also meant that, for example, but even if that NDM didn't crit and somehow didn't kill, you could just gone Sucker Evaldo. That would have cleaned up.
Yeah.
Although Roost, if this Evaldo wasn't a foul play, Roost home claws actually could have won.
Yeah. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
decent chance it's triple dark move and defog Ho-Oh, but I don't actually know. So
Yeah, so I mean, if Gostop doesn't sack the Kairos, maybe the game is actually playable. Like he go Eternatus first, and then just
yeah, if
strip
you get like an
Beraldo, and then-
encore or something
yeah,
on Sucker, there's a chance.
Yeah.
yeah,
But he did need the Cali probably.
hmm
The game was probably lost, to be honest, by the time a Spike and a Rocks went up. Like, that's just too hard to come back from.
yeah,
Yeah.
The mistake was
you
trying to
gotta
one
cheat.
PPR.
You gotta hacks or cheat at that point.
yeah.
Which is doable, but you know, it's difficult and luck reliant.
Right.
I do have to head off for now, but have fun with the last replay. See ya.
Thank you for joining.
Yep.
See you.
And the last replay for today is Kate versus Dark Shion Sion. I still don't know how to say that.
Yeah, so
There was a lot of hate show
hopefully
last
not,
week.
like,
Yeah,
Relative
because
for us.
because last week's game is like, to be honest, mostly
important.
not important. Probably that's why. But like Cloister plus Cernius plus Eternatus is a very common core because
Oyster is
Cloister,
actually, yeah, go on. Sorry.
yeah, because Cloister has a kill on NDM like Cell Smash, and then Liquidation has a good chance to 2 KO NDM, and so to open up for Cernius and Eternatus if the opponent team doesn't have a Kyogre.
But the
So,
important part there is that it doesn't matter if you do or don't get the 2-KO. It matters that you weaken it for those teammates.
Yeah.
Because a 50% NDM is not capable of checking Eternatus or Xerneas well enough at all. So then you've got to try and deal with a Cloister without using your Steel type. And in this particular instance, Kate has relatively good Cloister checks in Ferrothorn and Kyogre. Both of them won't take much from it and can afford to... They can afford to take those hits because the Kyogre in particular, while it 1v1s any one Mon on Shion's team, it can't really consistently check anything. So yeah, the game plan for Shion is trying to overwhelm the NDM with one of Eternatus, Xerneas, and Cloister. Kate just has to manage her resources and try and make sure that that does not happen.
Yeah.
Recently,
But
they've
one
become
thing-
more like interested in Spike's offense in SS. I think it's a lot better than Arrowhole, and I think it might be just better than Webs, to be honest. Because like Spikes, you hit way more important things, if you know what I mean. Like you hit Kyogre, you hit Groudon, you hit Ferrothorn and NDM. A lot of times Spikes are like almost always useful versus when you're playing with Hole. Compared to like Webs, which are sometimes not very useful, as you saw in the last game. So Oyster is actually, I think, one of the best leads for this because it can rapid spin pretty easily. And everything faster is kind of scared of Shell Smash and Bicycle Spear. So,
well, sometimes Cloister will run Explosion, like because
maybe
with Shell Smash Explosion, it kills Kyogre. So it depends on which way you want to go. Like if you want Cloister to weaken NDM, you don't run Explosion, of course. But if you run like something like Cloister and another Ice, for example, so you just want to overrun Kyogre, then you can run Explosion.
I don't think it will. I don't think Explosion sounds very useful in general play, just because like nothing on HO really wants the Kyogre dead well enough to commit a move slot like that. I feel like Liquidation, Spikes, and Icicle Spear are all more important.
Yeah, that's why I say it's rare. I mean,
Okay.
if you really need Kyogre to be out, then you can run Explosion.
Yeah. I just kind of don't really think that HO as a play style is consistent in SS. Like we're seeing a lot of it this week because some of the games didn't matter, or because people were switching up their scouts, or various things like that. But HO just as a play style, it's got the same problems that Webs, which is a subset of HO, has that we talked about before. If the lead doesn't work, if they can get the defog off, and often you can get a defog off, you're playing just down a Mon entirely. And even if you do get Spikes up or Rocks up or anything, there are so many Boots Mons as well. Like you don't have a defensive resource there, and a lot of the offense can just fall flat. So I don't think it's. I don't think Spikes versus Rocks versus Webs. I don't think it's consistent, and I don't think it should be something to bring all the time.
That is part of the reason why I like spikes more, is because all the mods you want to hit spikes, they don't run heavy duty boots. Like NTM, Aberforth, Everywhere usually doesn't, Groudon doesn't, stuff like that. That's one of the biggest advantage spikes has, is that it's not very. You can't just spam heavy duty boots and win versus it. As well, most of the monsters that are affected by spikes don't run heavy duty boots.
That is true, but you do end up in the situation like this team where I know Kate doesn't have a Groudon, but if Shion is in a position where a Groudon has set up against him, there's not really much of a defensive resource for that. And the Groudon can try and set up like NPM as well.
This is why this team probably needs something like SwSh LouieIX just to prevent against this.
SwSh is as reliable as ever. Let's put it that way. But anyway, we've analyzed one team sensibly. Kate's team is designed to completely beat up any balance. The Weavile Kyogre combo is very fun, honestly, but it really preys upon like the Ho-Oh Groudon Cali kind of cause that people run. Just because it's so difficult for those sort of teams to answer either Kyogre or Weavile, and Kyogre can create loads of opportunities for Eternatus to come in and be forced to recovering in the rain, which means Weavile is the freest switch into it that it could ever get. So that's the point behind Kate's team. Unfortunately, she's run into a matchup where like there is no Groudon, but she's going to be on the front foot in this game. But I just thought I'd say what the idea behind the team is, so to speak.
Weavile can still be pretty effective in this matchup. Like Ice Shard can be really nice for revenge and stuff like Eternatus or Xerneas. And still like not much switches in if Weavile gets a chance.
That's true.
At the same time, like it's frail and it might be choice lock too, which will like invite setup. It just
probably
depends on the
not
setup.
On this team. I mean, it could
I
be choice
either.
still. I picture choice band always with beat up, and this is not a beat up team. Like you've got three mons that do not contribute with beat up, so it's probably not choice band beat up. If it is choice band without beat up, you're running probably a suboptimal move somewhere, and by that I mean you're running knockoff, you're running Ice Shard, you're running triple axle, and then the fourth move slot just kind of feels like a waste. Boots is probably more like it, but
especially on a Aberforth team,
it still can
where
be
like you're trading hazards.
I'm not really sure about. I mean, I'm not really that deep into it, but the whole nature of Kate's team, is it like also a hyper offense team, or is it like more bulky offense?
No.
Much more bulky offense. Everything that isn't Weavile, you can relatively comfortably expect to be able to take at least 2 hits, sometimes 3, even from offensive teams like Shion's. But the Weavile is there to provide a bit of breaking power and also really mess up one of the matchups that's sometimes poor for this sort of team, the Groudon matchup. Specifically because Kyogre comes in on Groudon, forces it out into Eternatus, and then you can really reverse the momentum significantly with your own Weavile. But this is a bulky offense team. At absolute most, I'd probably call it a balance.
One nice thing about Weavile too, if it's boots, is that it really is quite effective versus webs, because your boots you aren't affected by webs. So if Kate might be expecting like web somewhere, which is possible, then Weavile would also be very helpful versus that. Fortunately, it's spikes, which Weavile isn't as good at. It's still gonna be quite useful this game.
Right then, let's best get into it. The Kyogre, what does it really do as a lead here?
It scolds and tries to get the burn. It will 2KO the close no matter what. Or it thunders and tries to get the full para. One of the two. It didn't get the full para. just means it's going to take a
Kyogre
lot.
is,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, the damage
Kyogre
here
faster
reveals
also
if
means
Kyogre is not
it's-
bulky. Because if it's bulky Kyogre, it won't take more than 50.
It's probably specs based on the damage it took from Icicle Shot at Icicle
Could be
Spear.
Spaz, could be Scarf, but I mean, it's just very sure it's no bug.
So,
Scarf is incredibly unlikely in SS just
Yeah,
because of
yeah.
like how much it thuds into one of the ones that's on basically every team. E-turn. You
Yeah.
can't really break an Eternatus with a Scarf Kyogre. And Specs is just a lot more breaking power. It's just a lot more useful in almost every matchup, honestly.
Yeah.
what I'm
I would
kind of-
probably Thunder here with Kyogre as well. You have two dark types that the Calyrex might well assume you're going into, and if you get the Thunder off, you break its Sash. It's just going to be much easier to deal with, especially if you can get a full Para too. But also the Kyogre at 40% with a choice specs is not ever slower than anything it can reasonably come in on in the future.
what I'm
Like, sorry,
Oh,
go.
on. Didn't want to interrupt you there. It's just hyper offense teams are really reliant on having hazards up to chip Pokemon into range for moves to be able to KO, and Cloyster didn't set up any spikes. So how does this general position really look for Shion? How do they really win from here?
Honestly, it hasn't really changed much in that the idea is still just going to be a case of overwhelm the NDM with Xerneas plus Eternatus. The spike not being up means that Xerneas can't do it by itself anymore, because previously two Thunders hitting would have KO'd. If through spike, that is. But the game plan is still just a case of you use Xerneas to set up and you try and sweep with Eternatus or vice versa. So it doesn't change that much. It just makes it a little tighter in terms of turn count. Much.
Yeah.
Not sure about going Calyrex here, to be honest. Since it's pretty obvious, it's probably specs. I think you could go Eternatus maybe. I guess with rain up, you don't really want to try to fire off flamethrowers in rain, but not sure about Calyrex here because you have to choose between either trying to set up and threaten Yveltal or Astral Barrage right away, because Kyogre could stay in and just Thunder again. So you're kind of in a 50-50 already.
Possibly it might have been better to go Eternatus and then double into Calyrex. Still a couple of rain turns.
I mean, I could see the Kyogre just staying in, or it could just be say it could be 3 attacks. 3 attacks Calm Mind. In that case, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah. I can definitely see the reasoning.
Or just go Yveltal and just kill it right now.
No, it
What's
is
3
3 attacks. It's 3 attacks.
Yeah, so
And it's
you're in a
sub
50-50
Ally without
basically,
lefties.
What item is it running then?
I'm gonna say something that's probably gonna annoy people, but it's running a bad item. If you're sub without lefties, you're generally speaking your spell tag to try and bluff the Astral Barrage damage to make people think that you're specs. But that's in that case you click Astral Barrage first, you don't click it second. And also the damage on the Yveltal does not suggest Astral Barrage is boosted by spell tag. The damage it took from the Astral Barrage on entry is just too low for it to be spell tag. So it's running some utility-based item. You can't really tell what it is from this position. It might be
Most
might
probably
even be
Sash.
boots. If it's Sash, it's not sub. That's my reasoning.
Well,
Yeah,
it can
I
be,
don't
it
see
can
why
be
you'd
sub
run.
like nasty plot during increase just recovering to the full health, probably.
But you can't run sub nasty plot draining kiss. Not with Sash and as well. Like I don't think it's Sash. I guess it still could be, but you don't sub first in the event that you have a Sash up there.
If
That's the thing.
Cloister, I don't think it is. But like on Web's team, if you're Sash Lyrex and you know Red Rock's probably coming up, I could see it being sub for Sucker Yveltal. But that's about it. On a Cloister
Yeah.
team, probably not.
So you said that the spell tag was there to bluff specs, right?
It was, but if you look at the Yveltal and how little it took from the Astral Barrage, it can't be spell tag.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
just
because-
wondering why a spell type would be able to bluff specs because.
Oh, you run Modest. Right. I should
Oh.
have made that clear.
Oh, okay.
You run Modest spell tag to bluff the choice specs. Because a lot of people head calc the Calyrex versus Yveltal interaction. But if you just get a high roll with Modest spell tag, it looks like it's timid specs. I think the difference is like 2% or something. And by doing that, you can try and force a situation where you then sub an encore and then set up with nasty plots. Because they think, okay, this is specs, this isn't a cheesy set, so I can just recover this up comfortably as it's forced out, and then you're encored into a recovery move, they get a sub, they get a nasty plot.
Alright.
And it's just generally not a fun time.
Yeah, normally the difference would be between timid and timid spell tag and specs like I think 1/5 less. Yeah, that
Well, that's
would
the
be pretty
downside behind
noticeable.
it, in that if you are forced into running Modest, it's not as reliable in that you can be revenged by other Calyrex that no longer have to risk a 50/50.
It's also slower than E-turn with Modest, right?
No, it isn't. It's a little bit faster.
So it is.
Oh, okay.
Take 400, right?
399, but yes.
All right, you're right. So right now is like the perfect time to set up Journey is to have Rain up for Thunder.
Yeah, but we got also
2 turns
raised-
of triple axle hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, the third one would have done, I believe it was like 32%. But I believe it didn't really make that much of a difference with the Necrozma not being able to take it out.
Let's see what's the okay subset. Okay, without lefties. Without lefties. What the heck?
Yeah, that's just not a great set.
Yeah.
Maybe it has a Pinchberry? Nah, that would also
There's
be...
no Pinchberry that you'd want there. Like, you're already the fastest thing in the metagame. So there's no Custap or Salak or anything. The +1 that you get from special attack is not relevant. Like, yeah. It has, however, successfully killed the Yveltal. I think Kate's Eternatus lives a hit, so that's the plan now.
Was that Scarf?
I
will say-
Or
It wasn't Scarf, no, it was outsped by the Calyrex.
One thing though, I think the best part about no lefties subseed is that it's not so obvious. Because once you reveal lefties, it's kind of obvious it's subseed. There's no other.
So once you reveal
Calyrex
sub, it's like it's got to be something in your mind. But like
I mean,
the
that's true, but it's not as
Calyrex
obvious now.
the Calyrex has ended this interaction in range of Eternatus. If it has lefties, it does not end this interaction in range of Eternatus. That's the thing.
It's fair.
Like
Although,
if it's
Unless
lefties,
it's
this
that-
Calyrex is at 70%, and Kate has no outs. Whereas now the outs are worse, but she does still have outs.
I do think that if there was, actually maybe not. Hard to say. Anyways,
I wanted to ask what kind of set the Yveltal was, because with foul play, I would imagine it being a defensive set with also like
You kind of foul play on
Roost.
this team just because the Groudon matchup is really rough about it. You'd be relying entirely on an offensive Kyogre to check it, which is just unreliable. So you need the foul play so that it can't set up and get out of hand. Even so, you're still a bit Groudon weak. But there's not much you can do about that, really.
Go with the suspects. Or
It's probably foul play knock, to be honest, because it didn't reveal. I mean, it could be Sucker, and it was just never revealed. Or it could be probably just foul play knock, to be honest, because knock is too good.
Possibly, yeah.
what item? I mean,
Oh, boots.
okay.
Boots.
I'm just wondering why it didn't roost there and it pays off with the Calyrex.
Roosting just means it gives the Calyrex a chance to nasty plot with behind a sub, and means that this Eternatus can't revenge clip. At +1, Eternatus can still have a hit. At +2 or +3, it cannot.
Okay, that makes sense then.
Because yeah, Eternatus was left at 20%. It would be way worse in the event that the Calyrex was at +2, it would just sweep. And now you've got an NDM that has to try and beat, and it's a sub Eternatus too.
Yeah, because it is Sunsteel Strike, so eventually, even without the burn, I think I'd still lose because
Yeah, without the burn, this is still over because it's sub. Sunsteel Strike is PP stalled by the sub. The only way it isn't is if it has a second move as well, but it probably doesn't based on the fact it's Sunsteel Strike.
Yeah.
Like if it had EQ, it would have gone for EQ.
Yes.
So now Kate's not really gotten out. This is over.
Does knock break sub? Knock?
Does knock break sub? No.
Really?
Not without the item, and the item was burnt. So.
Yeah.
Even without the burn, the knock doesn't break sub.
It might if it was like offensive or something, but probably not still.
Yeah, the flamethrower damage is revealing this is quite bulky in the end.
Yep.
Yeah, so this is a very typical replay for like how Geomancy and Meteor Beam's Eternatus work synergize.
Yeah.
A random question to before.
Yeah, you can do it both way anyway. So
do you think if it's possible to run Sticky Webs +5 Eternatus, would it actually be good? I feel like it would actually be good if you could run 5 Eternatus.
No.
So maybe after watching this game.
Hang on, FF2, you'd lead a sub Cali and you would win on the spot.
Yeah,
true. Yeah, maybe 4 plus eval though. But Eternatus is just so good on hyper offense. To be honest, like I realized that like it's like the best mon, like the most important mon on hyper offense. To be honest,
you could also lead a DDNDM or a Geomancy Xerneas. Like FF2 is smoking. It is very good on HO just because people don't account for offensive Eternatus as much in the builder just because it's often forced into running more utility-based sets, but it is really effective at breaking things, especially when it's partnered with a Geozone. Just in general, it's just really effective at doing so. I think maybe Kate should have gone immediately into NDM on the Xerneas this game. After knocking it with Weavile, it had to spend 2 turns setting up Geomancy. I think then you could maybe go NDM and Sunsteel Strike, kill it, and try and play the rest of the game out, because if you have a Weavile in the end game, it means that the Eternatus, if it's modest, it loses to the Weavile entirely, but otherwise you can just try and weaken it such that Ice Shard can pick it off. And so it's got to be a bit more careful with like sub PP and things like that. But that's the only real area where I think
range though. Sunsteel might not be in range though. Xerneas was at like 82%. I think
on a team like this, I would probably run enough attack that it would just kill. But even so, like let's say, but we saw a +1 Atantis' flamethrower doing like 45 to the NDM. It was not into a KO range of the Xerneas because it was more SpDef than usual. So it would have been able to take 2.
2 focus blast, I think, would have killed.
The focus blast is an
Yeah,
unreliable
that's probably
move.
true.
It's actually less likely that you hit
true.
2 than you miss 2. Then you miss one of the 2 even.
So, but I'm also.
I think that's probably true. Keeping Weebow is probably the best play, but even then, it's still a little bit tough against both Xerneas and Eternatus in that game.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for doing the recap. I'm gonna go and have breakfast. I literally joined as soon as I woke up.
Oh yeah, it's like 8 a.m. for
Right.
you.
Yeah.
Right?
River.
8:20 right now. Yes.
All right.
See you.
Thanks for being
6:20
here.
for me now. All right. Thank you.
So what I'm wondering a bit about here is the cloister. What purpose did it really have in the
Yeah.
term?
Well, cloister is like an offensive spiker, which is used in lead because shell smash is a stupidly broken move. So what you wanna do with cloister is just generally put offensive pressure with it. You're really going if like never going to pick a KO with it, but just you have to respect it. You can't.
Yeah.
Your usual walls will wall it like NDM, like Kyogre, etc. But they will take a lot, so you have the offensive pressure with it. It's not a good lead, I would say the least. It's definitely not a good lead, but well, it fits in hyper offensive teams if you want a spiker lead, which keep the offensive pressure even at the beginning. Because the options as offensive leads are quite sparse in SS. Because outside of cloister with spikes, there's Naganadel, which is really bad, and spikers just stop like that. Yeah, there's Mew, which is not extremely powerful on its own, doesn't hit very hard. And Scolipede, but it doesn't hit very hard too. It tries with a Swords Dance, but its courage are just very bad in general.
Yeah, and what Cloister is threatening is that if it met a low Kyogre team, it will be much more threatening. So
yeah, okay.
To be honest, I think that Shion should have just spiked, to be honest, then. If you go turn 1 or turn 2, right? Frankly, I think that the right move was actually just spiking turn 1, because if it's offensive and has Thunder, if you got parried as you shell smash, like you died and you did nothing, and if it's defensive Scald, as a lot of them are, then Cloister gets 2 layers up of spikes, which is actually going to be quite useful, and you get a free switch. In this game, it was just used to weaken Kyogre, which was useful because Kyogre at full health, nothing really kills it. But I also think that the appeal of Cloister is that it threatens like Eternatus. You would imagine that it gets 2 KO'd, but you can shell smash on it, and then you threaten the OA KO, and then you can spike up. And it also has rapid spin, so for hyper offense teams, it can keep rocks off. This could be useful for like Calyrex. But as I said, there aren't very many good leads in SS, to be honest. Cloister is probably the best spikes lead, and Stealth Rock isn't very good for hyper offense, to be honest, because everything weak to it runs boots. So outside of webs, Cloister's probably the most effectively just because it consistently gets up at least one layer. It stops stealth rocks and it can threaten stuff and just awesome chip on stuff.
Alright,
Yeah.
alright. Yeah. So those were some pretty interesting games this week as well. We got to see some rather niche mons with like Cloister, Chuckle, and of course here Obstagoon, Galvantula, and this team by Crying. So
I think like Chuckle isn't exactly a niche mon, but well, it's just that hyper offense in tournaments is not very, like Aberforth said, it's not very reliable, so people tend to not use it. They prefer to play bulkier teams, which are far more reliable and less matchup fishy.
alright. Yeah. Regardless, pretty interesting games to watch and also to learn from. So
Yeah.
last
I think SwSh Ubers is very interesting to play and to watch, because there's no, well, if you don't account for LouieIX, most mons are pretty fair. So it's a very interesting meta game on its own. But yeah, it's a slow paced meta game. So it's not like, a flashy meta game like TPP or Ubers where everything is a killing machine, and everything is super broken on its own. Like most mons are pretty slow, and you need to set up very slowly to eventually sweep.
yeah. So lastly, we can maybe go over the games of the semi-finals and what we can expect to see in those. So
Yeah.
first off, Icemaster versus you, Louis. Are you
Mhm.
confident?
Well, yeah.
I think Icemaster is a very scary opponent in general. Like he plays very constantly. It's very hard to surprise him, even by whether it be by playing or with any teams. His building is great. His plays are great. So yeah, it's a quite scary opponent.
Yeah.
The best thing about Icemaster is that he plays really well, and then he also brings, like always, he always brings good teams.
Yeah,
But the weakness of Icemaster is that he always brings good teams.
yeah. Like if you look at
He's very consistent.
it's very hard to find weakness in Icemaster's team. These teams are always, you never have a very hard losing matchup when you face him. His teams are very, very efficient against basically all kind of matchups.
I do think sometimes like uses the same stuff though, so that could be exploitable, I think, in prep.
Yeah, I think the only issue that he has is that he doesn't have a big, variety in the teams he plays.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Pokemon that he uses a lot, especially things like Clefable and the shenanigans around Clefable, so Ferrothorn, Groudon, etc.
Thank you
Yeah,
for
so
advice.
that's what I meant when I meant that, like the problems. Yeah.
Thank you for advice. Thank you.
Good luck.
And
Thank you.
secondly, we have Lotisat versus you, FF2.
Pretty confident. I prepped an amazing team, so
I believe in you, FF2.
I think Lotiazit is a player people tend to slept on. I've seen it doing consistently at least good results in tournaments, and he plays decently well. So I think he's a good opponent in general.
He's, Lodi has had a pretty good tour, I think. Last UPL, when he was on the Drizzlers, he had a poor showing, but he's 3-3 right now, I think. And I think that he can definitely end positive, depending on how the weeks go. So, yeah.
Yeah. Also,
Alright.
I see a very big, pairing this week with Hack versus Mysterious M. This is a very, very big pairing overall. These two are very good in the tier.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think the also great matchup was Master Chief versus RHM in RHM in our team. But yeah, this game is already over, and RHM was, I wouldn't say he was lucky, but he got a very well timed crit, and this basically sealed the game. I think the game is still interesting to look at, but well, the very thing that sealed the game was the crits on Yveltal's Z move.
Yeah.
Let's not kid ourselves. The best matchup of the week by far was Haste-Up versus MM2.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
definitely, if anyone has some time to burn, go and watch those games. They're very skillful.
Yeah, but they are very long too. Especially the first game. It's a very very long game.
Oh, did they play best of
He
3?
convinced Ubers.
They played best of
Yes,
3, and
unfortunately.
MM2 brought the same stall 3 times in a row. This was our strategy, by the way.
Oh, I didn't. Well, justice prevailed, I think.
So,
Making
yeah,
3 stalls in a row is just evil.
yeah. This is evil, but like I said, this is the playoffs. We have no remorse of doing that.
Yeah.
We should have just claimed the win after game 1.
Yeah, honestly, MM2 was very fair to play the rest of the games. If I'm being really honest,
It's true. Just claim the win. Holiday.
he played the gentleman,
Give yourself
but
2 hours.
Wouldn't that have resulted in like big problems if you just said, "Oh, we set out to play best of 3, but I guess I won the first game, so I'll take the win."
yeah, it's the
Well,
worst
it's a
thing
big
you can
move,
do. It's the worst thing you can do, but well,
Doesn't do you any harm on paper.
let's just say that it wouldn't bother me if it did that.
So a BO3 is generally just like a gentleman's agreement. So technically, if you want to claim your win, you can. But
Yeah.
it's obviously looked down upon as a dick move, and yeah.
Yeah.
The rules
Well, anyway,
say
it's quite late for me. I need to go now.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
the rules,
Thank you.
the
Thank
rules
you.
says
Goodbye.
that,
Goodbye.
yeah, goodbye. But yeah, the rules says that a gentleman agreement remains a gentleman's agreement. So if you want to break it, nothing forbids you to do so. So if you agree to play a best of 3, but the game is a best of 1 in the rules, well, you can just take the win at the end of the first game and break the gentleman, and TDs can't do anything for you. It's like it works like that.
I don't think that is like the greatest move for your reputation as a player, though.
No, it's not. But strictly speaking about the rules, it works.
Yeah. All right. Do you have anything else to say about the SS games or the semifinals?
I think.
Much.
I'm
I'm just praying on the super teams to lose.
Generally speaking, I think, well, we are down 3-1 at the moment. So, well, the Diagonals are, pushed against the wall right now. So yeah, it's really decisive games that will be played tomorrow. And yeah, I hope for the best for my team. And I really hope that the previous loss due to poor RNG will not impact too much the mental of my players, and that we will win in the end. Because I really think we did a great run overall. We went through difficult weeks, especially against the Voyagers during the regular season. So yeah, I think we are kind of the underdogs, and I really would like that my team just do the impossible. If you see what I mean.
Yeah.
Me too.
All right. And I think, yeah, next week we are maybe doing the best of three, the cover of best of three if we find the time. And with that, bye bye.
Yeah. See you.
See you.